everyone, my name is Arian Midi Chavez from the section BSHM2A and I'm here to present about global issue. Just a little bit reminder, make sure that all of you will take some notes and listen to this discussion because after this, we will have a short quiz. Thank you. Okay, let's start. What is a global issue? Global issue affects many people across the national boundaries like poverty and climate change. It is also beyond the capability of any one nation to resolve like migration, financial stability, forests, and waters. It is a significant concern to all or most of the countries around the globe, like communicable disease and corruption. For our better understanding, let me tell you the four key to understand the global issue. First one is global economy. The second one is global environment and natural resources. The third one is global development. And the last one is global governance. In global economy, it includes poverty, trade, inequality, financial stability, debt, and aid. In global environment and natural resources, it includes water, forest, energy, fisheries, and climate change. Global development includes education, health, nutrition, and infectious illness. And the last is global governance. In global governance, they include corruption, conflicts, and the global compacts. Why should we care about global issue? We should care about global issue because global issue will determine what the world will be like in the future and our quality of life. And it is important that we have awareness of global issue because it can help us to improve as a society. We will consider global issue in four distinct perspectives. First is social consequences. It is interpersonal relation or relation between communities. And the second one is economic consequences. It is financial costs and benefits. The third one is environmental consequences. It is how we impact the environment and how environment impact us. The fourth one is security consequences. It is all about political, power, and control.
What makes resolving global issues so difficult? Failures of group decision making. So in this group decision making, it needs to explore some of the important ways, not just individually, because it may affect the members' behaviors and influences the group overall performance, as well as achieving high levels of performance. The tragedy of commons. The tragedy of commons is an economic and environmental science problem where individuals have access to a shared resource and act in their own interest at the expenses of other individuals. This can result in overconsumption, underinvestment, and depletion of resources. Current mechanism to address global issues. International convention, treaties, and laws. In many areas, the legal work of the United Nations has been pioneering addressing problems as they take on an international dimension. The United Nations has been the forefront of efforts to provide a legal framework in such areas of protecting the environment. Regulating migrant labor as international law assume more central across a wider spectrum of issues, including the human rights law. Intergovernmental Conference and Declaration. The Intergovernmental Conference to adopt the Global Compact of Safe, Orderly, and Regular Migration takes place in Marrakech, Morocco on the 10th and 11th of December 2018. And the conference is convened under the auspice of the United Nations General Assembly and held pursuant of the Resolution 71/1 of 19th of December 2016 entitled New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants, which decided to launch a process of intergovernmental negotiations leading to the adoption of the Global Compact for Migration. Global partnership of governments, private sectors, civil society organizations, and multilateral institutions. Through its partnership with the leading multilateral institution, the Open Government Partnership is helping to mobilize new investment and technical support to strengthen open government reform. Those are the key players involved in global issues. So the news is packed with the static and updates of the challenges we face as a global citizen. Sometimes it can be seen as though there are too many specially formed the crisis of climate internationally, to the high rate of gender inequality around the world, and the many people living without access to medical care. In the other articles and references, there are a lot of key players that involved in global issues, but the top four in it is the country's United Nations system, international financial institution, and the international.
My name is Evelyn A. Diaz, BSHM 2A. So for today's video, I will present one of the examples of global issues, which is a lack of education. So first, let us know what is lack of education. So lack of education is states where a people have a below average level of common knowledge, which is the common knowledge about the basic things that they urgently needed for their daily lives. The content of this video is causes for lack of education, effects of lack of education, and solution for lack of education. Here are some causes for lack of education. So first, poverty. So poverty is regarded as a big cause of lack of education and educational inequality. So children from poor families often do not have access to proper education since it is simply too expensive for their families to send them to school. The laziness. So laziness may also be a factor when it comes to educational inequality. Some people have a higher motivation to learn and develop themselves than others. People who are not gifted with this drive to learn and progress may have a hard time in school since they may have no motivation to get good grades in order to be able to attend university later. Third one is the natural disasters. So when regions get hit by natural disasters like tsunamis or other catastrophes, people living in these regions will suffer from vast destruction of public infrastructure. They may also suffer from serious health issues due to these natural disasters. Under these horrible conditions, it will be quite hard for children to get proper education since school and other educational facilities may have been destroyed. And is the parenting. Parenting is a big factor when it comes to a lack of education. The more your parents care about you, the less likely it is that you end up with a low level of education. However, in some cases, parents just do not know better. They may themselves have a low level of education and think that this education level is enough for a happy. Here are some effects of lack of education. First is unemployment. A low level of education increases the risk of unemployment dramatically. If you apply for a job, chances are that your education level will be screened by companies. If you do not have a sufficiently high level of education, you will likely not get the job. Moreover, if you have a low education level and become unemployed, you will also have a hard time to find another suitable job. The next one is the criminal activities. So, if people are not able to find a job due to their low level of education, chances are that these people are willing to engage in criminal actions in order to make their living. Imagine you have tried hard to find a job, but it simply doesn't work out and you have to supply for your children. It would be quite attractive to earn substantial money by engaging in criminal action. So the third one is the social isolation. A lack of education may also lead to social isolation since people who only have low levels of education may not be able to follow conversation or to take part in mentally demanding activities. Therefore, they may lose social contacts and may end up in social isolation. Moreover, since a lack of education may also translate into poverty, these people may also not be able to afford social activities, which is turn may lead to social isolation. So the last one is the dependence. Educational inequality can also lead to significant dependence of all sorts. If you only have a low level of education, chances are
that you will be dependent on financial on our other support in order to be able to carry out important tasks in your daily life. Dependence in any form will in most cases not turn out favorable for the defendant person in life, since they give away the leverage to other people, which may have the power to treat the defendant person quite bad. Here are some solutions for lack of education. First, raise awareness on the importance of education. Many people might not even be aware of what a lack of education really means for their children. Parents may believe that a basic education taught at home is sufficient to succeed in life, since they do not know better. However, with other technological progress, it is likely that education will be more important than ever to succeed in our nowadays job market. So the next one is support for children from difficult families conditions. Children who experience violence at home may also be at a greater risk to suffer from significant lack of education, since they may become mentally sick, which may distract them to learn and progress. Moreover, their parents may not even care at all about their children's education, which may further exacerbate the issue. The third one is the financial support for poor families. It also crucial to support poor families with financial subsidies so that their kids are able to attend school. This is quite important to fight a lack of education, since poverty is a main cause why children are not able to go to school. By supporting poor families, educational inequality could be fought to a certain extent. So the last one is increase in quality regarding social security. Better social security schemes are also crucial to fight a lack of education. It has to be assured that everyone gets basic aids in case he or she becomes unemployed. This should also include financial support for children to send them to school even if their parents are unemployed. So, the conclusion. A lack of education is a big global problem. Especially in poor countries, many children suffer from educational inequality, which may in turn lead to several severe issues when these children turn into grown-ups. Therefore, it is crucial to fight the problem of a lack of education on a global scale. By doing so, we can ensure a brighter future for many people worldwide. Bago matapos ang discussion na to, gusto ko kayong iwanan ng isang quotes na galing kay Robert Kennedy, politician. Lack of education, old age, bad health, or discrimination, these are causes of poverty, and the way to attack it is to go to the root.
Filipinos are having a hard time surviving in such difficult condition, and more are falling into extreme poverty. Poverty entails more than the lack of income and productive resources to ensure sustainable livelihoods. Its manifestation includes hunger and malnutrition, limited access to education and other basic services, social discrimination and exclusion, as well as the lack of participation in decision making. While many of the above problems exacerbate poverty in many world regions, poverty itself is a global issue because it leads to social problems that affect even the richest people. According to the research site Poverty leads to higher crime rates, more instances of substance abuse, and greater susceptibility to infectious disease. This hurts economic productivity and can lead to instability. Poverty also is linked to terrorism. Consequently, the world must fight poverty to address other global issues. Cause of poverty. poverty, malnutrition. People who are poor are more likely to be affected by different forms of malnutrition. Also, malnutrition increases healthcare costs, reduces productivity, and slows economic growth, which can perpetuate a cycle of poverty and ill health. At kadalasan, ang mga nagiging apektado nito ay ang mga bata na mahihirap. Dahil sa malnutrition, hindi sila nakakakain ng sapat ng pagkain at masusustansyang pagkain. Kaya, karamihan na kinakain nila ay yung mga galing lamang sa mga basurahan. Cannot eat nutritious food. Nutritional imbalances reduce work capacity and human capital as poverty increases food insecurity and hunger, which contributes to the problem of malnutrition. Lack of education. Believing that poor children cannot learn merely leads to being paralysis. The root cause of poverty is lack of education. So, based nga dun sa lack of education, dahilan nga kaya hindi nakakapag-aral ang mga bata ay dahil sa kahirapan ng mga magulang. At ang nagiging apektado dito ay ang mga bata. Karamihan sa kanila ay hindi nakakapagtapos at sa murang edad pa lamang ay hindi sila nakakapag-aral. Lalo na ngayon sa panahon ng pandemic, karamihan ay hindi nakakapag-aral dahil sa hirap ng buhay na pati sa pagkain ay hirap din sila. The lack of shelter. Several slum-related factors contribute to the perpetuation of poverty, including poor health outcomes, an inability to access finance or leverage property assets, and lack of access to basic services. Based dun sa lack of shelter, karamihan ngayon ay walang matirhan ng mga tao dahil sa sobrang hirap ng buhay. At doon sila natutulog o doon sila nakatira kadalasan sa mga gusali o sa mga plaza lamang. At yun nga, nahihirapan silang maghanap ng bahay dahil nga sa hirap ng buhay. At sa at least na ibilin na lang nila yun ng bahay ay sa pagkain na lamang nila ito inilalaan. Ganon kahirap ang buhay kapag walang bahay. The last is the lack of jobs or livelihoods. Without a job or a livelihood, people will face a poverty. Most of the population lives in rural communities where natural resources have been plundered over centuries of colonial rule. While conflict over land has forced people away from their source of income and food. Based nun sa lack of jobs or livelihood, kadalasan ng mga tao ay naghihirap ngayon dahil sa wala silang trabaho at karamihan ay ang tanging na lang nilang ginagawa ay manlimos sa mga daan at manghingi ng pagkain dahil nga sa hirap ng buhay. Kaya hindi na nila inaano yung hiya nila at ang ginagawa nila ay kapal na mukha upang mapakain ng kanilang mga anak. Lalo na ngayong pandemic, ang lalong naapektuhan dito ay ang mahihirap na tao dahil nga madaming natatagtag sa trabaho. Kaya may namabuti na lang nila na pumunta sa ibang lugar o magsakripisyo dahil nga sa hirap ng buhay.
Good day, everybody. I'm Jersey Maedig de las Reyes, and I shall discuss the one example of global issues. First, let us familiarize the following learning objectives for this presentation. At the end of the session, each student is expected to identify the definition of food insecurity, examine why food insecurity has global issues, find out the effects of food insecurity, and last, recognize who are mostly affected by food insecurity. We will formally begin the discussion starting with knowing the definition of food insecurity. Food insecurity is defined as the disruption of food intake or eating patterns because of lack of money and other resources. Since there was a pandemic, this one has become a problem of our world. Many people are not eating properly and their needs are not being met. Why food insecurity has global issues? First is because of lack of income due to unemployment. This is one of everyone's problems. They have a hard time finding a job, so they are deficient in their foods and even their other daily needs. And because of lack of money due to unemployment. Because of pandemic, many businesses went bankrupt and closed. So many people lost their income, and also it was difficult for people to earn money to buy their foods and necessities. And last is because of the increased demand for food. This is also everyone's big problem because they don't have enough money to buy their foods every day and their salary is also not enough for their daily needs. There are three effects of food insecurity. First is less ability to resist from infections and illnesses. Due to their lack of food, they are unlikely to avoid diseases and illnesses. Second is low levels of energy, and last is reduced life expectancy. There is a tendency for people to lose hope of overcoming the hardship they are going through. The mostly affected by food insecurity are children and elders because they are more vulnerable and at high risk of hunger.
Hello everyone, my name is Robilyn M. De Los Reyes from BSHM2C. I'm here to discuss what is the examples of global issues. Deforestation. Deforestation is a growing global phenomenon that has a huge impact on the government and the economy. It is one of the causes of environmental and degradation. And it is also an activity that people do, such as cutting down trees without permission from the government. Example of deforestation: burning of agriculture. It is the burning straw in paddy fields and cultivating the mountains. Illegal logging is an activity of groups in which they cut logs in the mountain and clothing to be imported or used as charcoal as a fuel. Mining. It is an activity of a group where they dig open to explode a mountain range to get the minerals. They need, example, marble, silver, and gold. Impact of deforestation: increased flooding, increased biodiversity, increased wildfires, increased heat level or El Nino. Positive effect of deforestation: it produces more usable material. One of the main reasons that these forests are being cut down is to make room for expansion, with all of the free areas that are being created from deforestation. It produces more usable materials. All of the trees are being cut down to be used for producing lumber and other types of wood products, from the saps to the plants. They can be used to make good paper and many other necessities. It allows for civilization and industrialization. If we think of it, wide parts of forests around the world are left unused, which could instead be converted into some more beneficial agricultural sites, which can help feed hundreds or even thousands of people who are starving. It creates more job openings. Mostly, the people who are working in a forest clearing have no other job opportunities available to them, which means deforestation is providing workers to financial resources they need to take care of their families on a regular basis. It allows for civilization and industrialization. Animal grazing is one good way to make deforestation highly useful. With this method, it will be easier for people to find possible unknown animals that are hiding within the virgin forest, or even discover those that are declared extinct. Solution to avoid deforestation: support organization fighting deforestation. Join a community forestry project.
I'm Christina Paula D. Cordero from BSHM 2A. So now I'm going to discuss about substance abuse. So here's the examples of substance abuse. What is substance abuse? Substance abuse is not something you should take lightly. It occurs when you use alcohol, prescription, medicine, and other legal and illegal substances too much or in the wrong way. Substance abuse is different from addiction. Many people with substance abuse problems are able to quit or they can change their unhealthy behavior. How many types of substance abuse are there? There are two types of substance use disorders. The first one is alcohol use disorders, and the second one is drug use disorders. Some people abuse both substances, while other people are addicted to one of the other. Difference between drug abuse and substance abuse. One can abuse drug without having an addiction, but abuse can lead to addictions. Substance abuse is characterized by destructive use of a drug, leading to problems in the user's everyday life, performance at work, at school suffer, and legal or financial problems arise as a result of the drug use. What are the causes of substance abuse? A person's genes, the action of drugs, peer pressure, emotional distress, and environmental stress can all be factors. Many who develop substance use problem have depression, attention deficit disorders, post-traumatic stress disorders, or other mental problems. What are the effects of substance abuse? Chronic drug use can alter the person's brain structure and function, resulting in long-term psychological effects such as anxiety, panic disorders, paranoia, and hallucination. How can substance abuse be prevented? Develop healthy friendship and relationship with your family, and also by avoiding friends or family member who pressure you to use substances. It's often said we become most likely those we surround ourselves by, meaning if you surround yourself with people who abuse drugs and alcohol, you're more likely to as well.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. I am Christy Di Castro from BSHM 2A. This is the one example of global issues is unemployment. What is unemployed? A working definition of unemployment. People able, available, and willing to find a work and actively seeking work but not unemployed. In this time of pandemic, most of the people lose their job. The main reason, a lot of people wants to find a decent and permanent job to be able to support their needs in everyday lives. Also, the unemployed are included in the labor force. I have a question. Why do people work? The first one is, people enjoy working. There's a lot of positive impact of working aside from salary and benefits. We will help us to enjoy every moment when we are working. In addition, socially meet new people, meet your needs, satisfaction in our work, and the last is purpose of our life. How is unemployment measured? The unemployment rate is calculated at the percentage of the labor force that is unemployed. An example is through survey like the government do census. It shows and measures the rate of unemployed people. Causes of unemployment. First is poverty. Poverty and unemployment are like twins. It is difficult to distinguish them completely. A person is poor because he is unemployed, and if he is unemployed, poverty is natural for him. Poverty and unemployment are both sacrifice in our life. The main reason of a person who don't have job are to look at the cent to support their financially and other needs. Most of us are not financially stable so that we will find a way until they reach a success and better life. The second one is defective system of education. Our education system is a rote learning. It's failed in shaping the mental and physical aspect of human being. Yes, education is the first learning process to learn and enhance our skills in different aspects of life. I can say that in lack of education can cause defective system of education. The reason why it is very important to all of us to make it balanced in life. And the third is rapid increase in population. It encourages inequities in income distribution. Its limit rate of growth of gross national product by holding down level of savings and capital investment. It exerts pressure on agricultural production and land and creates unemployment problems. The rapid increase in population is the main causes of poverty. So many people are unemployed. The economy is collapsing. Also, the limit rate of growth of gross national product is also decreasing. They have three important types of unemployment. First is frictional. These occur naturally when workers are between jobs or have just graduated and are looking for work for the first time. An example is the freshman graduate. Most of them are looking a job for the first time, but the qualification in work is an experience. So the others are forced to work even if the finish one is not in their line. In addition, most of them lost their hope to find a job. The second one is cyclical. The economy regularly goes through ups and downs. When it enters in recession, more people become unemployed. In this battle of our field, it is the reality. The economy regularly goes through ups and downs. In terms of business, it's normal to experience growth and unsaleable. Sometimes, business are increasing when it comes in sales during peaks and holiday season, but there's a time unsaleable the reason they manage all over operation and sometimes it goes to reduce of employment. And the third is structural. When there is a mismatch between the skills people have learned and the skills the job market requires, that causes structural unemployment. In our field, hospitality industry, we have different techniques, strategy, skills that we learn in school. The reality is for every establishment industry has different rules and regulations. It's called job market. If it is not line up a reason who applies their skills based on their knowledge, it causes structural unemployment.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Angelica Cortez from BSHM2A, and I'm here to discuss the other example of global issues, which is health issues. Healthcare in the Philippines suffers from a shortage of human medical resources, especially doctors. This makes the system run slower and less efficiently. And these are the causes, types of health issues, and the problems. Causes. Health problems can be caused by personal lifestyle behaviors, exposure to toxic substances, or other reasons, with multiple health problems or illness or its treatment might lead. These are the top 8 of health issues in the Philippines. First is bronchitis, hypertension, TB, dengue fever, malaria, chickenpox, heart attack, and influenza. Major health problems in the Philippines. Many Filipinos face diseases such as tuberculosis, dengue, malaria, and HIV or AIDS. These diseases pair with protein energy malnutrition and micronutrition deficiencies that are becoming increasingly common. The population is affected by a high prevalence obesity along with heart disease. Health issues at the moment are not given attention because of the many issues that are happening today in our country. Many children are not given vitamins and medicines when they get sick, so many children now cannot go to school, but they just read. The 8 major problems with healthcare issues. preventable medical error, poor amenable mortality rates, lack of transparency, difficulty finding a good doctor, high cost of care, lack of insurance coverage, the nursing and physician shortage, different perspective on solving the shortage crisis. These are the three improving health and well-being. First is wellness and nutrition. Its impact on mental health and exploring the physical and emotional relationship humans. Second one is health and balance. It's the ability to distribute your weight in a way that lets you stand or move. And the last is mind and mental. It refers to a wide range of mental health conditions, disorders that affect your mood, thinking, and behavior. Example of mental illness include depression, anxiety disorders, and etc.